Hello and welcome to Top Gear Motorsport. This week we're in Indonesia for round 11 of the FIA World Rally Championship. But for Colin McRae, the weekend could be make or break. Engine failures in Portugal, New Zealand and Finland have left him in third place in the Drivers' Championship with only 4 rounds remaining. And with Tommi Mäkinen having such a commanding lead in the series, would even victory this weekend keep Colin in the championship? Indonesia, a land of mystery and beauty, paddy fields and stifling heat. Arriving in Indonesia, Tommi Mäkinen held an 18-point lead in the Drivers' Series. Realistically, he could only be caught by 2 men, Carlos Sainz and Colin McRae. But Subaru had problems. The Imprezas had suffered those 3 cam belt failures and the team had been working hard to cure the fault. The burning question was, had they succeeded?
They did a lot of testing in Wales after Finland, and we did 3 days testing here, and so far we didn't have any more problems, so I really hope it's okay now.
They've certainly made modifications again, and they reckon they know exactly what the problem is, so I mean, it's a start. We'll see how it goes.
Another long journey for the teams brought them to the only Asian round of the championship. The Rally Indonesia is also the newest round, making its first appearance in the series only last year. The rally's based in the city of Medan on the island of Sumatra, and the stages use the roads around the rubber, palm oil and cocoa plantations south of the city. Leg 1's 8 stages took the crews from Medan to the tourist resort of Parapat on the shores of Lake Toba. If it rained, the already difficult roads would offer about as much grip as ice.
Carlos Sainz won the event last year, so what qualities does the best driver need?
The best driver, or let's say whoever wins each rally, that's the best driver on that rally.
The Ford team, however, hadn't done much testing for Indonesia, so leg 1 was a chance for them to fine-tune the cars. Tommi Mäkinen retired here last year, but was now on the verge of securing his 2nd successive world title.
Nyppykymmenen oikein nopea plussassa aukeaa, oikaisen vähän oja ulkona lopussa. 250.
I need to go as fast as I can, but I think I don't need to take a necessary biggest risk.
So the scene was set. 4 victories so far this year had given Tommi a healthy championship lead. Could he take another one to leave his 2 rivals, Sainz and McRae, tangled in his web? McRae crashed out of last year's Rally Indonesia while leading by over 3 minutes. He couldn't afford a repeat performance and set off in determined style, fastest through the first stage. The fight was on, both for the rally and the championship.
Because we're so far behind Tommy now after the disasters we've had, is to win all 4 and hope that he is a bad one. That's the only way that the championship's going to be possible.
The lead was shared with Mäkinen after stage 2, but from stage 3 onwards, McRae began to pull away.
Toyota's new Corolla World Rally car first appeared in Finland at the end of August. Their lead driver, Didier Auriol, a novice here.
It's completely different rally, and absolutely no experience here. It's the first time for me. And okay, the road is very typical here. I never drive in the style of this road in another country.
Front differential problems effectively left the car with only 2-wheel drive for much of the day. Auriol finding the conditions a real challenge. The second Ford Escort was driven by the man who finished 3rd here last year, Juha Kankkunen.
100. Long flat left, 70. Our small crest.
Damage caused by a heavy landing cost Kankkunen victory in 1996. The difference between winning and losing here can be tiny.
Always when it is like that, it's a bit of lottery. Take a right choice or tires and, you know, how the stage goes and things. Easy to do mistakes on this weather.
Kenneth Eriksson, like his teammate McRae, has won 2 events so far this year. Engine failures cost him dearly too, and a victory here would do a lot for the team's shaken confidence. Eriksson's aim in Indonesia, like almost everyone else's, was to beat Tommi Mäkinen.
Yeah, that's my target, but it will be difficult. Not only him, Carlos and you, and of course all the other drivers as well. It will be a hard fight, but of course my target is to win the rally.
Richard Burns missed Finland, but in Indonesia was back as number 2 driver in the Mitsubishi team.
K right, long, slippy. Keep right to K left plus slippy.
Burns was another victim of retirement last year, but remembers only too well the conditions faced by all the crews.
It's about as hot and uncomfortable as you can possibly get, and it gets up to, I don't know what temperatures inside, maybe 70 degrees Celsius inside the car, and it is horrible. On the short stages, it's not too bad, and we've got a sort of a cool vest to wear as well, which has sort of pumps cold water around, but on long stages it's not very nice at all.
And how much are you drinking to keep hydrated?
Well, I remember the doctor the first year we came here kept a tab on how much water we drank, and it was 15 litres during one day, so we have to keep it topped up.
The second Toyota Corolla was driven by Australian champion Neil Bates, but a sticking throttle would trouble him all day.
Into left, 4.5. Oops.
That incident on stage 1 cost nearly 6 minutes, and the throttle problem left him frustrated at being unable to show his true potential on the world stage. Damage to the engine meant that he would retire at the end of the first leg. Behind the World Championship contenders, Formula 2, the 2-litre Cup, was led by Harry Rovanperä in the Seat, who ended the day in 12th place overall. In Group N, meanwhile, the Proton Wira of Karamjit Singh led. Singh was excluded from the results last year and was out to prove his excellent 7th place hadn't been a one-off. Toyota might have a new car, but there'll be Celica's rallying for many years to come. Yoshio Fujimoto was 9th in his at the end of leg 1. The stifling humidity was making life uncomfortable for all the crews, but the weather was about to change. The wind brought clouds and rain. At Subaru, all the talk concerning the last pair of stages was about tyres.
In the moment it's raining on stage number 8, but not on 7, so it can be very difficult with tyre choice, very difficult.
14-second lead at the moment. Is that the sort of comfortable lead you were hoping for?
You know, it's good to be leading, but in this condition, then it can change in one stage. That's the thing. We've just got to be really careful and make sure we get the tyre decision right.
Toyota were also worried about tyres, but over at Ford, Sainz's car was getting a new suspension setup, identical to that on Kankkinen's Escort.
Well, at the moment, you know, we haven't made any testing before the rally, and I'm not very confident with the suspension I was using, and I'm trying something new.
It seems to be working on Juha's car. Are you hoping it'll do the same on yours?
Well, maybe, you know, it's Juha, it's not the suspension, you never know.
Burns had been plagued by a misfire all day, but once it was cured, he was a changed man. His charisma was fastest on stage 8, the last of the day.
Flat right minus 100. Flat right 60.
It was incredible. Some places you're braking for maybe 200 meters just to try and slow down, and the car just wants to go straight on. But I honestly don't know how we got a good time. We just kept it going and didn't take any risk, and kept on the road by using the banks in a few places. I say, setting a fastest time, it didn't feel like it. Felt like the slowest fastest time I've done.
Go 120.
Kankkinen and his co-driver Juha Rappo also set the quickest time on one of the day's stages and would end leg 1 in 3rd place. Mäkinen had been unable to match McRae's pace for much of the day, but on stage 8 he found he was pushing a little too hard.
Ja nyppy oikein sumppuun.
Luckily for Tommy, the accident happened close to the end of the stage, so only 8 seconds were lost to McRae.
Ja lyhytlasen eri.
Fastest or equal fastest on 5 of the day's stages, Colin McRae's domination of the rally was almost total. Yet the 1995 world champion still managed to look relaxed. If he was under pressure from Mäkinen, he wasn't letting it show. A broken turbo intercooler had frustrated Mäkinen's attempt to catch the leader. Yet Tommy was another who looked as though he hadn't a care in the world. He was content to sit back and see what would happen on day 2.
We'll see tomorrow weather how it is. If it's like today, it's going to be a difficult day.
But can you catch up 38 seconds?
If it's like today, everything can happen. Everything is quite possible.
Tommy had problems today. Does that make you worry about what he could pull out tomorrow?
Not really. I mean, he's hell of a lucky. If you see the damage to his car and he got away with it without any problems, I mean, most anybody else would have burst the radiator or something. He's got a lot of luck with him.
You hold your breath until it's actually finished?
Yeah, I mean, anything can happen.
McRae's lead at the end of leg 1 was 35 seconds, while another 31 were all that separated the next 3 places. Ericsson was 5th, nearly a minute and a half behind his teammates.
An early start to leg 2 saw the crews out of bed before dawn to tackle the first of 8 stages. Lake Toba provided the backdrop for that first stage at over 16 miles, the longest of the day. The second leg looped northwards away from the lake before returning to Parapat for a second night. Concentration never wavering, Colin McRae was fastest on both the first 2 stages, his lead stretching to nearly a minute. Mäkinen was trying hard, but to no avail. McRae was in a league of his own.
Ja pitkä nyppy täysmiinus pomppii. 8 huomio. Hyppy jatkuu hidas oikein. 3. Hae. Pirun pitkä hidas vaan se kivi sisällä.
As the morning wore on, the Fords seemed to move up a gear. Sainz took 15 seconds off Mäkinen on stage 11, the same stage on which Kankinen set the fastest time. Kenneth Eriksson had changed the suspension on his Subaru, but it didn't seem to help. Over the first 3 stages, he lost 17 seconds to the man behind him, Richard Burns. His 5th place was starting to come under threat. Burns was Mr. Motivated. He had a great morning, quicker than team leader Mäkinen on all but stage 10.
Richard, 2 stages this morning, what were they like?
Well, they were a little bit worse than they were yesterday. The first one was quite a lot wetter, and unfortunately we spun on the first one and we lost about 15 seconds. It was quite a fast spin in about 5th gear, and we lost a bit of the front sump guard and damaged the intercooler. So we had to take it a bit more careful through the second stage.
Toyota's problems continued, and Oriol's rally ended after only 10 stages when he stopped with electrical failure. The new Corolla is not having the best of starts. No such worries, though, for Karamjit Singh, who still led Group N and would be 6th overall by the end of the day. With both Bates and now Oriol gone, Yoshio Fujimoto was the leading Toyota driver. He would be 5th. Seat, meanwhile, continued to dominate Formula 2, with Harry Rovanperä well into the top 10 by the end of the leg.
As morning became afternoon, the rally paused in the town of Pemantang Siantar. Indonesian life went on as though the World Rally Championship visits every day. the plantations, though, it was a lot more serious.
Caution, 3 left minus of a crest, slippy, tightens and opens, 3 outside. Into 3 right, opens.
Stage 13, anywhere else the spectators would have rushed to help.
Push, 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 push!
Here, though, an overzealous soldier says no. Mäkinen passes the stricken Subaru, taking the lead. The soldier finally relents, but with over 2 minutes lost, the pressure's mounting. McRae and co-driver Nicky Grist had another stage to tackle before reaching the safety of a service area. Of more concern than the body damage is a punctured radiator. Stage 14 and 13.5 miles more through which to nurse the wounded car.
Smoke coming out here. And 6 left and slow 3 left, slippy. Into long 2 right plus. And 6 left. And 6 right over crest. Pardon?
Fire.
Fire, oh shit, okay.
Yeah, fire extinguisher out. I think we have to stop here.
I think so. Find a place to stop and... Oh, rain, perfect timing.
Get the fire out, maybe keep it going.
Nick to supervision. Nick, over. Yes, John, we're still running. We're coming out of the stage now. The only thing is well, the temperature gauge is getting lower, not higher, so I presume there's no water in it. Do you want us to keep going, or should we stop?
Keep going.
Okay, keep going.
Having survived the stage, they now badly needed a trouble-free run to service.
Go, go!
They stop. The engine needs oil.
Get it.
Grist now has problems with the bonnet pins.
Okay, leave it. That'll be okay.
An unwise decision. Now the pressure is on the mechanics. McRae and Grist have done their part. Well over 20 minutes were lost on the 2 stages, but there are still 8 more on which to recover the lost time.
Why keep going if the car's this badly damaged?
If we can get the radiator in and the engine will run okay, then it's going to be all right. The rest of the car's fine, it's just because it split the radiator.
20 minutes tick by. Another 15 minutes are allowed before the car will be excluded. The damage repaired, there's now another problem. The car won't start. One more task for the mechanics.
Oh yeah.
It starts, but leaves the service area under protest. The sick-sounding Subaru has had enough. 200 metres was all it took. The heavy rain merely added to the despair of McRae's 6th retirement of the year.
Colin, all that drama, and it seems to be for nothing. What happened?
Yeah, it wasn't very likely that it was going to continue anyway. The engine was quite badly damaged coming out of the stage. It just got so hot, so it was worth a try.
When you see all the rally mechanics running around like that trying to fix your car and you can really do nothing, what do you feel?
I mean, they're the best guys in the job. You just trust them to get on with it, and they'll do it as quick as they can if they can do it good and well. It was just a stupid mistake I made, completely my fault. There was no need to even to go into the corner as quick as that. I could have backed off, another 20%. But
is that it for the championship, or can still anything happen?
No, I mean, just look what's happened here. Anything can happen, so we keep on trying as much as possible.
No such worries at Ford, but the torrential rain wasn't helping matters.
Now that it's throwing it down, now that it's raining very hard, what are you going to do?
Go home.
That wasn't an option for Mäkinen. He began the rally with a lead of 18 points in the Drivers' Championship and now had a golden opportunity to pick up another 10.
20 maali, 5K vasen aukeaa.
But radiator damage, perhaps triggered by the previous day's accident, meant that Tommy joined Colin on the road back to Medan.
It's unbelievable luck. So stupid small thing. On the road section between 13 and 14 stages, another fan was broken and broke the radiator and water came out and engine overheating and that's it.
So Burns was left as the sole surviving Mitsubishi driver. Both his team leader and McRae going out had elevated him to 4th place. Third was Ericsson, anxious not to repeat McRae's performance. There was, however, one piece of good news for the team. No hint of the kind of engine problems which have plagued the cars since Portugal. The two retirements had left a slightly surprised Känkinen leading. It wasn't to last, though. Going into the day's final stage with a lead of just 2 seconds, it was perhaps to be expected that he'd be second by the end of the day. Sainz was fastest through all of the last 5 stages, and his move into the lead on stage 16 might not have involved team orders. But Ford's plans were no secret. Sainz is the driver going for the championship, not Känkinen. At the end of the second leg, Carlos led Juha by 20 seconds. Ericsson was now over 1.5 minutes behind Sainz, and Burns was within 16 seconds of snatching 3rd place.
Day 3, and the heavy rain had been replaced by sunshine. Yet more discomfort inside cars which become ovens in the sun. 6 final stages took the crews north back to Medan. Now running first on the road, Sainz knew that victory would edge him closer to Mäkinen with only 3 rallies left. The first 2 stages passed without incident, but on stage 19 it was a different story. 2 punctures, and while the anti-deflation mousse had worked on the rear tyre, it hadn't on the front, and Sainz had to drive for 10 kilometres with a flat. More worrying was the damage the puncture had caused to the suspension, with another stage between Carlos and his mechanics.
After 5 kilometers, we have a puncture and we don't know why. The mousse was not working, so we were driving in the rim the last 10 kilometers of the stage.
How much time did you lose?
Well, I've lost nearly half a minute to Kenneth.
Worried team management could only offer advice. No one but Sainz and his co-driver Lewis Moyer could touch the car, so mechanics could tell Carlos what to do to adjust the suspension, but couldn't do it themselves.
This one up? Yes. Oh, up.
As the drama unfolded, Karamjit Singh cruised to victory in Group N, 6th overall in a so-called showroom car. Formula 2 had been dominated by Seat, who finished 1-2 in the category. For Erwin Weber, it was particularly satisfying. This was his last rally before he retired from the sport. Teammate Harry Rovanperä won F2, finishing 7th overall. Nothing, it seems, can now stop Seat winning the 2-litre World Cup for the 2nd successive year. 5th were Yoshio Fujimoto and his veteran co-driver Arne Hertz, Hannu Mikkela's regular partner in the 1980s. Richard Burns finished 4th for Mitsubishi, cursing the misfire on day 1, which had cost him precious seconds.
Richard, Indonesia is hot, humid, and not everybody's favourite event. You glad to have finished?
Yeah, very glad. Okay, it's not my favourite rally in the World Championship, but it's been probably the most difficult one to finish. The roads have been so difficult to read, very slippery conditions. Okay, been a bit better today, but I suffered a bit this morning in those wet conditions when we had a spin. But apart from that, I'm just happy that it's all over, happy for myself and the whole team.
Kenneth Ericsson had been fastest through the first 3 of the day's stages and sensed his chance when Sainz was slowed by the punctures. The gap between 1st and 3rd, however, was just too great.
Vänster 4, 40, varning, kräv med lyftfart, 110 kilometer, 30.
Juha Kankkunen kept up the pressure on his teammate until the very end, but knew his place. Runner-up for the third time this year.
40, long medium left, double caution, mud, late.
But after the scare on stage 19, Carlos Sainz recovered brilliantly. Suspension repaired, he stormed through the 3 final stages, even setting the quickest time on the last. His second win of the year and the second 1-2 finish for the team.
Para uno, tiene que ser rápido, menos a fondo, 3. Vamos, vamos, vamos. Bien, bien, muy bien. Perfecto, lo que necesitamos, top.
For team director Malcolm Wilson, a quiet moment to congratulate the mechanics on a job well done, and then applause when Sainz himself appears. This was his 20th victory at the sport's highest level, and one which puts him and the team back on course for both World Championships.
Carlos, congratulations. You make a habit of winning here in Indonesia.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm very pleased. After all the misfortune we have in the last 3-4 rallies, I think it's a good victory.
Was it a hard victory or an easy victory?
Not very, very hard, because even up to the last stage, Juha was pushing very hard.
Wilson embraces Moya. The party was about to begin. 16 seconds, Sainz's winning margin, with Kankkunen, Ericsson and Burns second, third and fourth, while Fujimoto finished a creditable fifth in the Toyota. The championship positions now look very different. Mäkinen still leads the Drivers' Series, but the advantage has been slashed to just 8 points. McRae now needs a miracle to get back in touch with the pair ahead, while Ericsson moves to within 4 points of his colleague, and Kankkunen enters the leaderboard for the first time this year. The manufacturers' table too receives a new look. Subaru's dominance is over. They now have the narrowest of leads, just 1 point, while Ford move ahead of Mitsubishi. 9 points cover the 3 teams, with only 3 rounds remaining. The taste of victory in Indonesia is obviously sweet for the Spaniards. 2 wins in Sumatra in as many years. Europe beckons to the championship once again for round 12, the San Remo Rally. The final all-tarmac event in the series was won last year by McRae after a thrilling battle over the last few stages with Sainz. With Ford now seemingly the team to beat, predictions on what will happen in Italy are impossible to make. One thing is guaranteed: you will have a grandstand seat. In Top Gear Motorsport next week, Steve Berry reports on the Rallycross Super Prix from Lyddon's classic circuit. Bob Constanduras looks back over a highly international season of Formula Ford racing. And Tiff is at Castle Combe for an eventful first visit by the Eurocar circus.